This is it. You're grown now. No more time for arts and crafts, painting, whatever type of writing adventure you were doing, fan fiction, short stories, novels, any type of creativity, pottery, anything like that. Heck, even music, like anything. You're done. It's over. Like your childhood has ended. So you have no time for creativity. That time in your life is done. It's over with. That's what the modern world wants you to believe. Everything when it comes to your creativity is done. Because now I finally realize how your creative imagination dies when you enter adulthood. And this is a few points I had to make. First things first is a lack of mental clarity, aka you have too much responsibilities. So, one thing I've noticed, especially with myself, is like as the responsibilities start stacking up more and more as the years goes by, it's like there's a lot more things going on in my brain that's taking up space, that mental space. And because of that, it's like now I have to put my energy into other areas in my life that I didn't have to focus on before. And I don't know about you, but for me, I started to realize that the main reason why I was able to like focus and be able to come up with like ideas for stories and things like that is because I didn't have to worry about all these adultery things, like things that adults had to worry about before. But now, since I have a job, I have bills to pay, you know, I have to get food and stuff. Like, it's not the same. It's not the same. I actually had a conversation with a client of mine recently, and he told me the same thing. Like, yeah, I've noticed myself losing my creative drive. You know, I'm just so focused on like work and like working these 10 to 12-hour shifts. You know, it's just hard to actually sit down and think for a moment about my story. And I get it now. I I completely understand. That's how life beats down, or I shouldn't say life. I should say the modern world or the systematic world, or that's how they want you to not I wouldn't say want you to be, but um if you let it, it will kill your inner self if you let it. I don't know, maybe that's purposely designed. I don't know, maybe not. But just know that if you passively let yourself take a few days from your creative adventures, what your passions are or your hobbies, I should say a few days. I should say like a couple months is like, well, I got these other things to prioritize. Let me hold off on these. If you don't go back to it as soon as you can, then like eventually those days turn into weeks, turn into months, turn into years. And then you're going to be one of those people like, man, it's been like 15, 20 years since I last played a guitar or like last like saw my story that I wrote when I was like 20 years old, you know? But yeah, I want to break it down to you the first things I've noticed when it comes to like creativity and adulthood when the process starts. So like I mentioned earlier is the responsibilities. That's when it really starts, when the responsibility starts piling up. Cause I don't know about you, but for me, um, the less responsibilities I have, the more mental clarity I have, which leads to more creative ideas. Maybe that's just me, but that's one thing I realized. Like I have to free up space in my mind from these responsibilities in order to think creatively. So that's the first thing. The second thing is brain points. You probably seen this somewhere in YouTube, but I know I have, and that's where I'm stealing it from. But the concept is really simple. Each day you wake up with a certain amount of brain points. Like think of it as like your phone battery. You start off with 100%, and throughout the day you're like chipping away as you go through activities, socializing, you know, different things you do during the day. You know, it just starts going down, 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 down until it's time for you to sleep and recharge. So, yeah. Maybe the life hack is to take a nap in the middle of the day so you can recharge midway, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, because most of your brain points by default just like use like 60 to 70% just from working your job. And oh my god, Don't even talk about if you have kids. Like that's like 90 brain points right there out of 100 just gone with like kids, full-time job. Let's say you're in school and you're working a job, like any combination of like if you have like kids and a job, kids and school, job and school, um heck, even like keeping up with friendships, your partner, things like that. Like when things could stack up, like that's really the main thing is like things be stacking up on you, and that takes up like 70 brain points, 80, 90, and it's like, okay, it's time for me to work on my story, it's time for this writing session. And then it's like, damn, I only have like 10% left in me, you know? And with that is like you realize because you know yourself if you're not putting out your best work, and it's like you're also getting frustrated at the same time because you're not spending enough time with your passion. And then when you actually find a few minutes to even work on it, it's like you're staring at the screen most of the time, and whatever you write down is actually pretty sloppy. You don't even like it at all. So it's like you want to scratch, or it's like, oh man, it wasn't even worth it. Those are the frustrations right there. And god damn, I'm getting like flashbacks right now. Holy. But another thing that really irks me is the fact that I feel like this is so intentional too is, and by the way, I envy you. If you are a night owl and able to have your best ideas at night, you got it. You got it. Unless you have a night shift, then I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, the fact that the way the 9 to 5 works is sometimes your most like creative time in a day, because I feel like everyone has like a certain time period in a day, like a time block where they're like the most creative, most energized, and that's like the best time they could like write or do whatever they do creatively. And the fact that if your best time to be creative is like during your 9 to 5 schedule, is like you're done. you know you're done. Like what can you do about it? That's literally how the process starts. Like those things right there: brain points, responsibilities, lack of mental clarity, and just not being able to utilize like your optimized time to do your creative work because you're stuck dealing with your job. That's it right there. If you have others, let me know because that's my topic. Those are the top ones in my list. So you let me know if you have others. But I didn't make this video just to like complain or whatever. I did come up with this one somewhat of a solution. I don't know. Maybe it will work for you. It kind of works for me. Sometimes it doesn't. I will admit that. But for the most part, this is what really been helping me. So it's a concept called active and passive thinking. So, like I said earlier, let's say you spend like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, whatever time you could afford to write your story, or think about your story, just like stare at the screen and like think about your story, right? So during that time, you should really focus on asking yourself questions as well. This is what really gonna help you. So write down questions that you're struggling with at the moment, like creatively. And then afterwards, right, you go on into your day. Oh, also, by the way, it'd be best if you do this in the morning time, right? So then you go out, do your thing, your responsibilities throughout the day. And because you spend time in the morning doing that active thinking and like actually try to like focus solely on the story without anything else distracting you for like the first few minutes of the day, because of that, it's a lot easier to kind of passively think about it in your back of your mind throughout the day rather than just like have the world distract you first and then trying to focus in on your creativity later on in the day. At least that's what I noticed. I don't know if you noticed this, not, but this is what I noticed. Because those moments where like you're just doing something random and then like suddenly you just like solved your whole story, like the missing link that been disrupting your plot hole or whatever, like you just solved it randomly while doing like laundry or something, you know? I feel like you could activate that more if you like for a few minutes in the morning just think about your story, write down questions that you're struggling with, like actually like physically write it down, you know, or digitally or type it, whatever. Like if you do that and then just keep it in your back of your mind, just let the brain work do its thing while you handle responsibilities. I think you'll be able to tap into that a lot more. I have at least, especially when I write down questions. I have for sure. So that's one thing that's really been helping me with at least writing down ideas for my story and actually progressing and moving forward while handling responsibilities. So you let me know if that works for you, but that's really been working for me. So just to put this simply, right? You spend a few minutes in the morning, no distractions, just you and whatever creative endeavor you're doing. Let's say you're writing a story, right? So for the first few minutes, you're just going to be thinking about your story, writing down whatever questions you're stuck with that you need answers to. And then once you're done, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever time you could afford, then you go on, do your thing for the rest of the day. Of course, you're going to have times like during the day where you could like think back to those questions, right? Let's say like when during transportation, things like that, like you're coming home from work, things like that. Like you're gonna have time to like go back and think about those questions you left off from the morning, and it's gonna increase your chances of coming up with no ideas for your story and increase your chances of solving that issue that you were having with your story. Like I said, it's not like guaranteed like, oh, this is gonna be a proven guarantee method that's gonna work. But honestly, this is like one of the best shots I have in terms of driving progress while being busy that day, or having consecutive busy days, without having to not lose momentum from working on my creativity and my story. So, yeah, you let me know if that helps. If you want and you still feel like you're dreading and you need some time or some help with completing your outline, things like that, you could click the link down below that will lead to a consultation call with me, and I'll be able to help with your outline, give suggestions, ideas, give feedback, ask you questions. Maybe you can't come up with the questions to help get you unstuck with your outline. But yeah, it's just really to help you feel prepared and ready to start your first draft. So you could click the link down below for that. You could check the video here or there to see the explanation of my consultation calls, a little bit more of what I do to help you out. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening.